Sorry for starting late, but let's go ahead and get this meeting called to order. Good, let's do a roll call, please.
Scott O'Brien.
Rico Jones.
Stuart Huffman.
Larry Jones.
Jimmy Anderson.
All right, thank you. Before we get started with everything, just wanted to say that we haven't met since January, and since January, we've got a new board member, Rico Jones. So I want to say welcome to the board. It's a pleasure to have you on here. Thank you for your service to the city, and thank you for giving your time and effort to this board, and so just want to say welcome. Okay, Sean, we got one item tonight, or do we need to, hold on one second. We need to do the approval of the January minutes. So has everybody looked at them? Anybody got any questions, any changes or anything like that? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
I motion to approve.
I second the motion.
All right, got a motion to approve in a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, now we'll move to the item of the night. And Sean, can you go ahead and present it to us? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chair. So the item that we have for you tonight is a request for a conditional use approval to establish a mini warehouse self-storage facility at 1219 South Dickerson Pike. This is a proposal that came to staff, and there's a number of elements I think that fit within different zoning districts within the city. This is within the commercial services. There's a, but I guess the not all elements fit neatly within one, and so given that they are proposing some storage facilities, which is a conditional use within the commercial services, we brought this to you for a kind of two reasons. One is a request for a variance from that, or a conditional use approval from that for storage units. And then also, given that this is a different type of storage unit, as you may be familiar with, I think, mini storage units, as that are defined in the language, are typically have a size requirement of 500 square feet. And these units would be larger than that. So we'd be looking for, I guess, from you all is not only consideration of that conditional use approval, but also for a variance from that maximum square footage size of 500 square feet. And we've got a couple of images here, some not only of a conceptual site plan that they've shared with us that includes the storage units as well as a gym on the front of the property, as well as a rendering of what that would look like off of Dickerson Road. As I mentioned, this is kind of spelling out where that the conditional use is coming from within the zoning ordinance, as well as the bolded item H of the maximum size of an individual storage unit being 500 square feet. So I think a couple of options in front of you tonight would be to approve the conditional use request and variance request from the maximum size requirement, and then define any special review criteria as determined by the board. A motion to deny the conditional use request and or the variance request from the maximum size requirement as determined by the board during the meeting, or a motion to defer the request for the applicant to provide additional information as determined by the board. Staff has recommended motion one, but happy to, we have some additional slides as well that can provide further detail.
Mr. Chairman, if I may speak. This matter was on last night as a discussion item at Planning and Zoning, if anyone is not aware of that or was not able to attend. What I found out last night is obviously these are planned to be basically a platted deed ownership. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Garland. So basically, a horizontal property regime will have to be created, is what they're actually going to be doing. It's basically a commercial condominium for all practical purposes, which is not a lot different from a residential condominium. You actually own your unit. This one, of course, is just going to be sitting on the ground. If anyone's not familiar with a platted deed, you actually don't get a meets and bounds description that says, starting at the pin at the corner of such and such Dickerson Road, going 20 feet east, northeast, 0 degrees, however many minutes. It'll be a plat of record at the registrar's office, drawn out survey of each individual lot, of which will have its 4 walls around it, usually 2 common, with any neighboring unit. And then there'll be the common area, which will include the parking area, any greenway, shrubbery, anything of that nature. As indicated last night, there's also intended to be a high-end gym facility out front. Is that intended to be on a separate parcel or as part of this as well?
It'll be a separate parcel.
Separate parcel. So obviously that's a standalone use on that parcel within that zoning district. So we got an HPR and a standalone parcel. That being said, and apologize because this kind of came on fairly quick, I had to be at other board meetings this afternoon and had a real opportunity to determine whether or not this is a zoning variance issue or whether or not it's going to require some sort of a commercial PUD or something of that nature to create this HPR and this separate lot, which will fit into a zoning district for the gymnasium. We're not really creating a warehouse that someone owns and rents out every month. You're gonna own it. You're gonna own it just like you own your home or own a commercial lot somewhere. So I think we ought to discuss it a little bit because everybody's assembled to kind of wrap our heads around it. And then in the end, it unfortunately may have to be deferred. Or it may not come back to this body and be back to planning and zoning for the correct, PUD, commercial PUD. Sure. With a site plan, preliminary site plan survey, and you've done it and know how that works. So, but I think it's good we need to ask as many questions so we know where we're headed and get direction, which will assist either this board in the future and or planning and zoning. If that sounds appropriate.
All right, thank you for that. Y'all are up there, so why don't y'all go ahead and kind of tell us what this project is about and like what you're wanting to do with it.
Absolutely. My name is Rob Sampson with Selberg Associates on behalf of Paradigm Companies. This is Ryan Garland, CEO of Paradigm Companies. First off, thank you very much. I can't tell you how accommodating you guys have been. Sean and his team have been phenomenal. This came up a couple of months ago, and here we are in front of you already. So thank you very much. Sorry about the onslaught of this project to you, but I appreciate very much your kind statements and your willingness to work with us. This project is really exciting for us. It's something that Ryan's a visionary, and one thing that he really is excited about is you can tell he's kind of a tree of a human being, so he loves fitness, and he's also made a lot of money doing storage projects. I myself have designed 5 million square feet of storage in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. and also throughout Mojave County, which is in Arizona. Ryan's company is based out of Nashville. It's also based out of Lake Havasu City, Arizona. So he's familiar with the area. He's been here for a long time, and one of his passions being working out. The first thing we looked at with this property, because this was a distressed property, an arm of his company is a commercial lending, and they were trying to get something to work on this property. The previous owner, he foreclosed. Since he owns this property, it's an asset he has. He looked at how can he best develop this project to actually bring some value to it, obviously make some money. We're all developers. And the idea was what will fit the fabric of this area, what does it need? And one thing that we do know is we know storage, especially on a large scale. So the idea was, with this long, narrow property, it's got a significant amount of grade difference from, from the street frontage all the way to the back of the property with what's adjacent to it. This seemed like a good idea. It really seemed to fit. You have a high usage gym at the front of the property, the commercial storefront, the tax base. And then what do you do with maybe a not so desirable plot of land? We were looking at different ways to, can we put some residential on it? Can we put other commercial? And you guys all know that the key to commercial typically is store frontage. And it would be suicide to try and come up with a commercial development that would, meet all the needs for the parking and everything, but not have a storefront and you'd need a map just to find where this building is at, and it wouldn't be as desirable in that area. So what we looked at was, how can we do this storage product? This product is somewhat conservative to what we're typically used to. In Lake Havasu, we've seen everything from 600 square foot units to almost 3,000 square foot units on a regular basis. These units are, we call them luxury units, but what they're essentially is conditioned space. So they're 20 by 50. It's enough for a double wide car garage, so to speak. And it gives, it's set up in a way that it appeals to a number of different, people. It could be your car club guy. It could be a guy that just likes to collect nice cars, side by sides, or diesel pushers and boats. The one thing that we've made a lot of money doing when we introduce these things across the country is, well, every time we want to go in, we want to go into a market that doesn't have something really similar. Obviously, you want to be first. The problem is that comes with some brain damage, and we have to actually, work through the process and assure the good people that we're trying to bring into the neighborhood something that's not going to be a hassle for them. It's not going to be a policing issue. It's not going to be a problem that, we're not trying to mortgage the area with a problem. We want it to be something that's valued in the community. And I can tell you, every time we have these meetings, we just had one in Lake Orion, Michigan, where it started off like, no. They had a similar 500 square foot. They weren't interested. They were worried about it. They were worried about parties, and they were worried about all these things happening. We showed them some historical data from Lake Havasu, where it's an owned product. So there's a lot of pride of ownership. A lot of this stuff is money where people are coming in, and they're cashing out of business. We're very close to California, obviously, where we're at. So there's a mass exodus from California. A lot of those people are selling their businesses and 1031ing that money into these storage products. It's an investment. So they protect their investment. They, if the neighbor's not keeping up the investment, well, they want to make sure that their investment's protected, so they report it to the HOA. We've got a 180-page document that we're willing to share with you guys that has all the HOA information, and that was brought up last night, and we'll be happy to share it with you guys, depending on whichever way you want to go with the meeting. So it's something that we're really excited to bring to the area. It's something I think you need. Demographics, I mean, Ryan hasn't really jumped into anything without doing a very thorough due diligence period and making sure that everything is, we wouldn't offer this if we didn't think there was a need. And the nearest similar product is over 15 miles away. And the comparables, when they asked for 3 comparables, one of them was in Georgia. Where we're at, the comparables are within a 3-by-3 mile radius. That's how many there is. What typically happens, sorry, I didn't finish my thought, but what typically happens is, no, we don't want this, and then they realize, hey, this is actually kind of cool, and then we have people that come up to us and go, how much is it going to cost? I'd like to get on the list. Because we all have stuff, and we have RV garages that I'm sure will be all the rage out here sooner than later, and they still want to have storage units. It's just because we buy stuff and we keep it, and we're proud of our assets as we accomplish them and obtain them. because we work hard. Everybody who works hard wants nice things, right? So that's what this is really geared towards. We've got a quick presentation I'd be happy to share with you here. Sean, if you'd be so kind, can you just send this forward here? So this unit, and just speaking about the project that we're proposing, it's 90,000 square feet of development, 10,000 for the gym. We're proposing 80,000 square feet of storage units. They're coupled into 12 buildings. They'd be done somewhat in phases, so we'd like to be able to sell them off and as each building gets finished. And then the idea would be, as we go through this, we've got finishes that will match the exterior. We want to make, obviously we wouldn't come in here and ask for anything that is against the zoning code other than the size. We just feel the size doesn't fit our program. We'd really like it to be a little bigger, to get a diesel pusher in there, to get a larger boat. As we were leaving our meeting yesterday, there was a huge bay liner. It was about a 35-footer. Yeah, that was there. We're thinking like that's the guy. We wanted to tail him and see if he needed a storage unit and see if he'd like to be the first one to go in here, if it were to be successful, of course. Next slide, please. This is a gym. Ryan's, again, has been very successful developing gyms. This is one of the ones he has in Lake Havasu. These gyms are geared towards people who want to work out, that want to look good. It's got a health and wellness component to it for pain management. This is not for your average person who just, wants to lose a couple pounds. This is for someone who's got a social media presence and wants to take pictures of themselves and wants to look good and really wants to, succeed and achieve, their physical goals. Next slide, please. This is the cardio section and some of the different areas he's got set up. The colors are very bold. They're very in your face. This is a brand that he's built, and everyone who goes to these gyms is very just excited to be a part of it. This becomes a community. It's something that people really look forward to going to the gym.
It's like the Equinox of town. So that's what it feels like.
All right, and next slide. And back to the storage. This is Paradigm Storage in Lake Havasu, City, Arizona. The last building is being built right now. This is over 250,000 square feet of buildings. They range in size from 800 square feet all the way up to 3,000. I think there's actually one that was 4,500. We took some walls out. This building is at capacity. It's, I think, 93% sold out, and it's only because we haven't finished the buildings. We can't sell them. The inside of these things is really just what you see. It's metal skin walls. It's insulation on the roof. They're all insulated on the perimeter and the roof for the climate control. And there is opportunities to make these into man caves if someone wanted to do that. If you guys allow us to do that, we'd be happy to offer that as a package. And some of these have put in very elaborate interior layouts just to watch the game while you're kind of staring at your 911 Porsche or whatever the case may be. Or we can just keep it as straight condition storage. We're happy to work with you guys. We want to be a part of this, improve the concept, and we feel that this will be the first of many in this area. And we stand for any questions.
All right, thank you. Y'all have any questions?
Well, you said we'd probably ask this, so I'm going to ask about the parking as well as, I'm looking at this picture that was provided us, and I know that's a different site, but I'm confused on how you get all this on that narrow plot that you bought. I don't know.
The storage itself only requires 4 parking spaces because it's like a drop and leave kind of deal. So you'll bring in your boat, you open the door, park the boat or park the motorhome, and then the intention is you're in one of the visitor spaces and you drive away. All of the parking for the gym is actually located in front of the property. So everyone coming to the gym, I believe there's 65 spaces required, and that's provided at the front. As far as I know, and I'm not sure if Sean's had a chance to do any kind of cursory review on it, but as far as I believe, we meet all the criteria for the zoning code.
You said that these are climate control, correct?
Yes.
Okay, are they sprinkled?
Whatever is required, our intention would be.
Is that a requirement, Sean? Do you know?
I'd have to look that up.
Code-wise, we'd be able to make it work. It depends on local ordinances, but our intention would be to fire sprinkler provided the water service is available.
Some type of smoke evacuation fans?
Yeah, it would be more just, I mean, what we would typically propose is just a wet sprinkler system and then just in the conditioned space so that way it doesn't freeze. And then a fire alarm system for each building.
I anticipate that they would be required to be sprinkled.
So they're gonna be individually owned, correct?
That's correct. One point that was made last night, though, we just want to share with you is, for instance, in the one we showed in Lake Havasu.
Right.
There's 250 units, just over, but there's only 93 owners because some owners have come in and said, look, I'm selling my business, I need to buy so many units, I'd like to rent them out or whatever. And that's all controlled by the HOA, and it's controlled through the HOA that they can't, they can't live in there. They can't own it. They can't operate a business as a primary location in there.
Right.
They can't, do any kind of maintenance on their vehicles in there. Like that's, we wanted to keep this a very high class area, and you can't do that with fluids on the floor. It just doesn't work that way.
So I know you can put stipulations on that, but people don't always go by the stipulations. I've seen stuff and they turn out to be a junkyard or vehicles sitting everywhere. So I probably know the answer because of the lot size, but it's not gonna be where you can like park a camper there, motorhome outside.
That's correct. In fact,
correct?
The HOA is written in a way, we'll share this is something that we have in all of the properties, is if it's out for more than like a day, it's towed away at your expense.
So what's kind of bothered me, I was coming in here tonight thinking we were just gonna give a variance on the size of a
Warehouse.
building, and now you brought up the deal about the,
Yeah,
From the-
the ownership issue kind of changes the complexity and the complexion of it, a little bit. And also, with regard to the dimension, I know that the plan was each unit to be 1,000 square feet, 12 feet high, one roll-up door, no man doors, except maybe on the end units, depending on what the final design was.
Yep.
And a lot of this is from discussion from last night, so correct me if I'm wrong. And again,
If I may just interrupt, I apologize. The height of these, to get we want to have a 14-foot roll-up door on the front of them, so that,
14 foot?
yeah, the height of the building would have to be at 16 feet minimum.
16 feet, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, for some reason I thought I heard 12 last night, so it'd be 16 feet high.
He can't hear very well, go ahead.
It's,
what I was getting at, Russell, was you was talking about the different zonings with the gym. Is this something that needs to go back to the planning and zoning? Is this something we don't need to be dealing with right now and the planning and zoning needs to be dealing with?
in my legal opinion, yes, because again, it's not a warehouse in which they're seeking a variance technically of a unit size.
Which, it looks great. I'm not trying to
But we're honestly
give y'all
known-
any doubt. I just want to make sure this
It's a
gets to
little
the right people. I want to make sure this is done right.
Yeah, it's, in all honesty, we're used to going through the planned unit development process. The PUD process is typically what we end up seeing, so this isn't foreign to us.
And Sean, you told us it's in commercial services. Two concepts here. One, variance as to unit size, I don't think that's where we're headed. Variance as to the zoning, yes, because we've got to fit the model into a zoning classification.
Right, and that's kind of where I was gonna go, because I was gonna ask, what prevents you from just keeping it at 500 square feet?
It's just an inability to use it for a larger scale boat and a larger scale motorhome. That's really
Right.
all it is. So it doesn't really fit
So the
kind of our
business
model.
plan, so the business plan doesn't fit the ordinance.
Correct, 100%.
So,
And that's why we're here, is to just get your feedback on it.
right, so it's not the land that is causing a hardship or anything like that, it's just your business plan doesn't fit our ordinance.
That's correct. Yeah, in all honesty.
Yeah, and you are right, just the lot itself was complicated, where we wanted to do more of a mixed use, where let's say we wanted to do 80 of these buildings, but then we can have smaller stuff or maybe do like covered parking where you'd see a lot of that for boat and RV storage. We wanted to look at it from that perspective as well, but it wasn't gonna work for our business plan, given the size of the lot and the way the layout. So this is gonna be the best use we can kind of come up with.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like, what we have to do is look at certain guidelines, certain criteria as to approving a variance or not. And being that this really doesn't fit our ordinance, the plan, and then something that we probably the planning commission is gonna have to do with the commissioners, but,
At least not with regard to structure.
right, not the structure, but,
I think we need to do what we've done in the past. One, determine, yes, it's gonna require a PUD, commercial PUD, which I believe it will, because you have to have platted deeds, HBR, all that. You're gonna present that in your engineering, and then we're gonna recognize, and we're gonna come here before that approval and get the variance. And then go forward potentially with the project if it's approved.
Did you all say you have built one in Hendersonville, is that correct?
No, there's one that's somewhat of a common, I would say, kind of a comp, which is called Rally Point. I
Okay,
don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's more of a car club. I think it's actually called Rally Point Motor Cars or something of that nature. But they're smaller, they're a little bit smaller units. Driveways are smaller. You can get small boats in there and some small trailers, but the driveway is pretty small. But I think it's only 36 units.
the reason why I ask was just looking at the legality of how the ownership is listed in that, and was just curious how, if you had done that in other locations, how that worked in that jurisdiction.
Yeah, that would be a good one to probably,
I mean, this is
look at.
outside the zoning piece of it. This is, what is required, I guess.
Yeah, so the way it's set up is, think about if, let's say we proposed a residential unit, these are really individually lot. So these are all lots, and then all we're doing is just building the building above it and then selling the whole lot, in essence. So it is a residential purchase, and in fact, some banks will actually lend money on these units because of that nature. So they do get a recorded first trust deed if they had to, that type of stuff.
So is this something we need to defer back to the planning and zoning? Or do we just defer it for, I don't feel comfortable doing anything tonight. I'm sorry, but I just don't feel comfortable doing anything tonight. Do we need to send this to defer this back to the planning and zoning? Sean, can you help out on this, or?
Yeah, I was gonna ask,
I mean, my opinion is what they're asking tonight is something that is probably not, there's something that we're gonna have to do to, change. I mean, we're gonna have to come up with a different zoning, I guess. But like tonight, what they're asking for is a variance of the 500 square feet. So it doesn't really pertain to their business model.
Well, right, we're here to increase the potential size on the warehouse, which in the end doesn't meet their business model in the end, other than the fact that it gets them from 500 to 1,000 feet, should they present their planned unit development and engineering for the platted deeds that everybody would have in the building that goes on top of it. Basically, it's just like building it's literally like building a commercial building for owners that are gonna own. It's condos. Yeah, just office commercial condo.
Yeah, and Rally Point or whatever it is, it's Rally Point Motor Condos, and it is under their general service, commercial or something, whatever. Because I did a little bit of research on this. But for the land use, it's commercial, but for the deeded use, it's residential. So, and it's kind of like a storehouse or whatever that's in Colorado. So are y'all planning to like make these where you have water, electricity, bathrooms, you've got sewer, you got all that kind of stuff?
You can, so that would be one thing we would propose. Can we actually put, a clean out or sewer in there as well? So a lot of times, like, people will build like little bathrooms in there, what have you. So if you're, stopping by, cleaning your boat or what have you, you need to use the restroom, you can use the restroom. So.
Yeah, I think this is, I mean, it's a new concept, I think, for us. But tonight, we're here to question, the question is, do we give them a variance on the square footage? And basically, it's a blanket square footage, it's 600 plus. So, I mean, you can go in there and put 2 of these things in there and at 5,000 square feet, I don't know. But it just seems to me that we're looking at something new here, and then this tonight is something that almost doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I don't think we really, I mean, we're not negative on the idea, we just gotta make it fit. Obviously, we got ordinances, you gotta fall within somewhere in it, you gotta meet the right project. I think probably the best thing would be to do is Sean, Falzer, myself, and Mr. Ellis will get together, kind of put our heads together and see, one, if we could get from you what for sure the uses will be within the building. In other words, what are your requested uses or allowable uses, I should say, under your CCRs and the master deed?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, we're not gonna have any dental offices probably, but we're definitely gonna probably do just pure storage of high-end luxury, toys, I guess we could say, or luxury items. But then yet there may be a point in time when somebody says, well, I'm just gonna store my plumbing supplies there for my plumbing business that I have down on another location where all the trucks are and everything's, I got a little overflow here or something.
Exactly. As we would also be happy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but another thing we'd be happy to do is share, any of the documents we've created before, like the plats we've done before. You guys have all seen plats, I understand that, but we'd be happy to share how we've done them before, what it looks like. If there's anything that you could get any value out of, we'd be happy to share that with you, just so you can see it.
Have you done any survey engineering at all yet?
No, honestly, we talked about this idea, and you guys generously let us come up before we actually did any of the engineering. And I wanted to just say thank you very much for that, because you know how this can work. You can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on engineering and find out that the concept doesn't fit. I think what we were kind of looking for was just we're not opposed to the idea. You have to, burden of proof is always on us to make sure it fits your zoning code and we can, fit within the box that we have to create. But at the same time, if it was a hard no, we'd probably take this somewhere else, because there's no point in wasting the money.
No, I don't think we're indicating a hard no in any way. We just gotta, it's like I said, because it is different.
Yep.
And, it's not pure warehouse. It's a, commercial condo, and, that's gonna require a different fit. Knowing what the intended uses are within that condo. I mean, if you're gonna be selling ice cream there and dental offices or that, but it doesn't sound like that's the case.
Yep.
We wanna know the intended uses, the restricted uses, and probably a set of your, CCRs, your standard CCRs and HOA docs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can send those to Mr. Falzer. And, obviously, at that point in time, then we get the dynamics and know what horse to get before what cart, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Still gonna potentially require a variance here,
Well,
zoning.
I need to open up a public hearing
Yes,
on this,
we
because
will
we've
do
done a lot of discussion, but,
That's all right, we can do it.
okay.
All right, that's all I'm saying. So my suggestion is gonna be a deferral tonight, no set date on the, meeting, and we'll put our heads together and see what next level you need to go to.
Yeah.
And feel free to, email us or reach out. We'll send you guys as much as you guys are looking for.
All right, I appreciate your presentation, but I need to open up a public hearing to have anybody else that's here that wants to discuss it. So let's go ahead and open up the public hearing, and if you have something to discuss, please state your name and address. And
Hi, I wasn't going to say anything, but I just had a thought, and it's probably woo, I don't know. But have you thought, I know with all the concerns about this is different.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Mary Duval.
Okay.
I live at Vintage North Creek, 155 North Creek
All
Boulevard.
right, thank you.
It just came to my mind, have you thought about potentially contacting the zoning board or planning board from the city where they have one of their other storage units, and talking to them and trying to understand or asking them, how did this fit in with their zoning? And if it didn't, how did they make changes to accommodate it? I mean, that might just give you some thoughts or some ideas. I don't know if that's doable or not, but I like the idea of them doing it as long as they have a way broad enough opening where you can get in off of Dickerson, because it's not if I'm familiar, I've only been here a year and a half, but if I'm vaguely familiar with the area, it's a pretty narrow street. So they need to have a big opening to get some of the stuff in, if there's RVs or big trailers or big trucks or any of that kind of stuff. So as long as they have that, and there's not a traffic issue there because of it, then I'm all in favor of it. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to comment? See nobody else, I will close the public hearing. Is there any more discussion on this? I mean, I think we kind of know where we're going, but do y'all have any more questions for the applicant? Okay, I don't see any more discussion, so I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to defer till our next meeting.
Can I offer one addition to that? And that is make a motion to defer until this is remedied with staff, with planning and zoning. Okay.
What'd you say? I couldn't,
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to defer till this is worked out in time. We'll come back.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So the item's been deferred. Any other items tonight, Sean?
Nope, none.
All right. I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.